At a family dinner, she publicly said her ex would always matter. I stayed calm and silent. Later, I adjusted my priorities, canceled future plans, and watched everyone slowly understand that boundaries speak louder than embarrassing ultimatums. He'll always matter to me. You know that, right? My fiancée said this at the dinner table while her mother was serving dessert. Not to me privately, to her entire family. About her ex-boyfriend. I kept cutting my cheesecake like nothing had changed. But everything had. We'd been together 3 years, engaged for 7 months. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. I was 29, she was 27. This was supposed to be our engagement celebration dinner with her extended family. Cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents. 18 people total. Her aunt had just asked about our wedding planning. Instead of answering, my fiancée, let's call her Nicole, launched into a story about her ex, Trevor. How he'd helped her pick out her dream wedding venue years ago. How they talked about getting married there someday. How she still wanted that venue because it represented such an important time in her life. The table went quiet. Her dad shifted in his seat. Her younger brother looked at his plate. I took another bite of cheesecake. Isn't that a bit weird? Her cousin Rachel asked. Nicole laughed. Actually laughed. Why would it be weird? Trevor and I were together for 4 years. He shaped who I am. I'm not going to pretend that didn't happen just because I'm with someone new. Someone new. 3 years. 7 months engaged. Someone new. I think what Rachel means, her mom started carefully, is that it might be strange to have your wedding at a venue you originally chose with an ex-boyfriend. Nicole waved her hand dismissively. I've already put down the deposit. It's done. Besides, he texted me last week saying he's happy for us and that he thinks it's perfect I'm still using it. He texted her last week. I set down my fork. Everyone was looking at me now, waiting for a reaction, an objection, a scene. I didn't give them one. The cheesecake is excellent, Mrs. Chun, I said. Her mother blinked. Oh, thank you. It's a family recipe. I nodded and took another bite. Nicole touched my arm. You're okay with it, right? The venue. I looked at her hand on my sleeve. We'll talk about it later. There's nothing to talk about. I already paid the deposit. I moved my arm away and reached for my water. Then I guess it's decided. She smiled like she'd won something. The conversation moved on. I stayed for another 40 minutes. Made polite conversation with her grandfather about his woodworking hobby. Complimented her aunt's earrings. Helped clear the table. When we got in the car to leave, Nicole was practically glowing. That went so well. Everyone loves you. I started the engine. I'm glad. You're quiet. Are you upset about the venue thing? I merged onto the highway. You said it's already decided. It is, but I want you to be happy about it. I kept my eyes on the road. I'll adjust. She reached over and squeezed my knee. See? This is why I love you. You're so understanding. I didn't respond. We drove the rest of the way in silence. She fell asleep against the window. I kept both hands on the wheel and thought about everything. When we got back to our apartment, she went straight to bed. I sat in the living room with the lights off. At 2 in the morning, I opened my laptop. First, I emailed our wedding planner. Told her I needed to discuss some changes to our timeline. Asked if we could schedule a call for early next week. Then I opened my work email. I'd been postponing a promotion opportunity that would require relocating to the Seattle office. My boss had offered it to me 4 months ago. I'd turned it down because Nicole's entire life was here. Her family, her job, her friends. We'd agreed I'd look for advancement opportunities locally instead. I drafted an email asking if the Seattle position was still available. Didn't send it yet. Just saved it in drafts. Then I went through our shared calendar. We had a vacation planned for next month. A couple's retreat in Vermont that Nicole had been excited about. I'd paid for the entire thing as an early wedding gift. Non-refundable, or so I'd thought. I checked the terms and conditions. There was a cancellation window. It closed in 3 days. I bookmarked the page. Nicole came out of the bedroom around 3. Why are you still up? I closed the laptop. Couldn't sleep. Work stuff on my mind. She patted over and sat next to me on the couch. Want to talk about it? Nothing concrete yet. Might have some opportunities coming up. She yawned and leaned against me. That's good. We could use the extra money for the wedding. I looked down at her head on my shoulder. How often do you text Trevor? She stiffened. What? You mentioned he texted you last week. I'm just curious how often you two talk. She sat up. Not often. Just occasionally. What? Define occasionally. I don't know. Maybe once every couple weeks? Sometimes more, sometimes less. I nodded slowly. And you tell him about our relationship? Our wedding plans. Sometimes. He's still my friend. Is that a problem? You paid a deposit for our wedding venue without discussing it with me first. She crossed her arms. I told you about that venue months ago. You said it sounded nice. You told me about a venue you liked. You didn't tell me it was the venue you'd chosen with your ex-boyfriend. You didn't tell me you were still in contact with him. You didn't tell me you'd already put down a deposit before asking if I was okay with any of it. I didn't think I needed your permission to. Permission, no. Input, yes. We're supposed to be partners, Nicole. She stood up. I am not going to erase my past just because it makes you insecure. I'm not asking you to erase anything. I'm asking you to consider how it looks when you announce to your entire family that your ex will always matter to you while your fiancé is sitting right there. He does matter to me. That's just the truth. Would you prefer I lie? I'd prefer you have some awareness of context and respect. She was quiet for a moment. Are you seriously going to make this an issue? I stood up too. I'm not making it anything. I'm telling you how I feel. You're being ridiculous. Maybe. I walked past her toward the bedroom. Where are you going? To bed. I have work in the morning. I slept on my side, facing away from her. She didn't try to cuddle. The next morning, I woke up before her and went for a run. 5 miles instead of my usual 3. By the time I got back, she'd already left for work. There was a note on the counter. We need to talk about this. Can't believe you're being so sensitive. Love you anyway. I crumpled the note and threw it away. At work, I finalized the email to my boss about Seattle. Still didn't send it, but I scheduled a call with him for Friday. Over the next few days, Nicole acted like nothing had happened. She talked about the wedding constantly, showed me photos of centerpieces, asked my opinion on invitation fonts, mentioned that Trevor thought we should do a live band instead of a DJ. That last one made me look up from my laptop. You're asking Trevor for wedding planning advice? She barely glanced up from her phone. He's been to a lot of weddings lately. He knows what works and what doesn't. So have my parents. So have most adults. Trevor has good taste. I closed my laptop. Nicole. What? Do you hear yourself right now? She finally looked at me. What are you talking about? You just said your ex-boyfriend has been advising you on our wedding. He gave me one suggestion. That's hardly advising. After you told him about our wedding. Why are you telling him about our wedding? I already explained this. He's my friend. Your friend who you dated for 4 years. Who you originally planned to marry. Who you're still emotionally attached to enough that you announced at a family dinner he'll always matter to you. She set her phone down. I'm not doing this again. You need to get over this insecurity thing. It's not insecurity to have boundaries. Boundaries about what? Me having friends. Boundaries about your ex-boyfriend being involved in our relationship. She laughed. Actually laughed. He's not involved. You're being paranoid. I stood up and grabbed my keys. I'm going out. Where? For a drive. I didn't come back for 4 hours. Spent most of that time parked at a coffee shop, thinking. When I finally returned, Nicole was in the bedroom on the phone. I could hear her voice through the door. I don't know what his problem is. Yeah, he's suddenly acting like I'm doing something wrong. No, I'm not going to stop talking to you just because he's being insecure. I know, right? It's so frustrating. I stood outside the door for a full minute. Then I went to the kitchen and made dinner. She came out 30 minutes later. Oh, you're making pasta. That smells good. I plated 2 servings. We ate in silence. Halfway through, she said, I was talking to Trevor. I kept eating. He thinks you might be feeling threatened because he and I have history. I set down my fork. Trevor thinks that. Yeah, he's actually being really mature about this. He offered to talk to you if it would help. Your ex-boyfriend wants to talk to me about our relationship. To help you feel better about our friendship. I picked up my fork again. That won't be necessary. Are you sure? Because I really think it would. Nicole, I don't want to talk to Trevor. I don't want you talking to Trevor about our relationship. I don't want his input on our wedding. I don't want him to be a factor in our lives at all. Her face hardened. You don't get to control who I'm friends with. You're right. I don't. Then what's the problem? There isn't one. You've made your priorities clear. What's that supposed to mean? I finished my pasta and brought my plate to the sink. It means I understand the situation now, and I'm making adjustments accordingly. What kind of adjustments? I rinsed my plate. We'll see. She followed me to the living room. You're being cryptic and it's annoying. I'm being honest. About what? I sat down with my laptop. About the fact that you're not ready to be married. Her mouth fell open. Excuse me. You're still emotionally invested in your ex. You prioritize his feelings and opinions. You involve him in our relationship decisions. You dismiss my concerns. Those aren't the behaviors of someone ready to commit to a marriage. That is completely unfair. Maybe. I love you. I want to marry you. Trevor is just a friend. I open my laptop. Okay. Okay. That's all you have to say. What else do you want me to say, Nicole? You've made it clear that this is how things are. I accept that. Now I'm deciding what I'm going to do about it. Which is what? I'll let you know when I figure it out. She stood there for a long moment. Then she grabbed her purse and keys. I'm going to my mom's. Drive safe. The door slammed behind her. I sat there staring at my laptop screen. Then I opened the email to my boss and hit send. The next morning was Friday. My call with my boss was scheduled for 10. Nicole hadn't come home. She'd texted around midnight. Staying at my mom's tonight. Need space. I'd responded. Okay. Nothing since. At 10 my boss called. So you're interested in Seattle after all? If the position's still available, yes. It is. But I have to ask. Last time we talked, you were adamant about staying local. What changed? Personal circumstances. There was a pause. Everything okay? It will be. All right. Well, the position is yours if you want it. We need you to start by the end of next month, though. That's pretty quick. That works. You sure? Don't you have a wedding coming up? That timeline might be changing. Another pause. I see. Well, let me know officially by Monday. I'll need to start the paperwork. I'll confirm by end of day today. After the call, I sat at my desk and stared at the wall. My phone buzzed. Nicole's mom. I considered not answering. Answered anyway. Hello, Mrs. Chun. Hi, sweetheart. Nicole's still asleep, but I wanted to check in with you. She was pretty upset last night. I'm sure she was. She said you two had a fight about Trevor. Of course she'd told her mother. That's part of it. Can I ask you something? Sure. Are you having second thoughts about the wedding? I leaned back in my chair. I'm having thoughts about whether Nicole's ready for marriage. Because of her friendship with Trevor? Because she doesn't seem to understand why it's inappropriate to center your ex-boyfriend in your current relationship. Mrs. Chun was quiet. She's always been like this, you know. Like what? She doesn't like letting people go. Even when relationships end, she wants to keep them in her life somehow. She did the same thing with her high school boyfriend. And the one before Trevor. She's still friends with all her exes? To varying degrees. Trevor's the one she was most serious with, so he's the one she's closest to still. And you think that's healthy? I think it's who she is. The question is whether you can accept it. I rub my eyes. That's what I'm trying to figure out. For what it's worth, I think you're good for her. You're stable and kind, and you genuinely care about her. But if this is a deal breaker for you, better to know now than after the wedding. I appreciate your honesty. She's my daughter, and I love her, but I'm not blind to her faults. She can be selfish sometimes. Doesn't always think about how her actions affect other people. I've noticed. Talk to her. Really talk to her. Not when you're both angry. Set aside time and have a real conversation about what you both need from this relationship. I'll try. Good luck, sweetheart. After we hung up, I looked at the time. 2 in the afternoon. I pulled up the Vermont couple's retreat cancellation page. 72-hour window, closed tomorrow at 5. I filled out the cancellation form. Paused with my cursor over the submit button. My phone rang again. Nicole. Hey, I answered. Can we talk? Sure. Not on the phone. Can you come to my mom's? I'm working. Can we talk tonight? I want to talk now. This is important. I checked my calendar. I had meetings until 4. I can be there around 4:30. Fine. She hung up. I went back to the cancellation form. Closed the tab without submitting. At 4:30, I pulled up to her parents' house. Nicole was waiting on the front porch. She got in the car without a word. Want to go somewhere? I asked. Just drive. I drove to the park where we'd had our first date. Parked overlooking the lake. So I said. She was staring out the window. Trevor called me this morning. Okay. He said he thinks he might be causing problems between us. Perceptive of him. She turned to look at me. He offered to step back. To stop texting, stop giving advice, give us space. That's considerate. I told him no. I looked at her. You told him no. Yes. Because I'm not going to let your insecurity dictate who I can be friends with. I turned back to the lake. Then I'm not sure what we're doing here. I came to tell you that I need you to trust me. Trevor and I are friends. That's all we are. That's all we're ever going to be. If you can't accept that, then we have a bigger problem. We do have a bigger problem, which is, you don't respect me enough to consider my feelings. You make decisions that affect both of us without consulting me. You prioritize your ex's comfort over your fiancé's concerns. You tell your entire family that another man will always matter to you while I'm sitting right there. And when I try to talk to you about it, you call me insecure and refuse to acknowledge that your behavior is inappropriate. Her jaw tightened. My behavior is not inappropriate. I'm allowed to have friends. You're allowed to have friends. You're not allowed to treat your ex like he's still your partner. I don't do that. You asked him for wedding planning advice, Nicole. You told him details about our venue before you even confirmed the deposit with me. You talked to him about our relationship problems. You defended your friendship with him to your family instead of defending our relationship. You literally chose his feelings over mine just now by refusing his offer to step back. Because his offer was ridiculous. We shouldn't have to change our friendship because you're being possessive. I started the car. Where are we going? I'm taking you back to your mom's. We're not done talking. Yes, we are. The drive back was silent. When I pulled up to her parents' house, she didn't get out right away. So that's it. You're just giving up. I'm not giving up. I'm accepting reality. What reality? That you're going to do what you want regardless of how I feel about it. And I'm going to make decisions based on that reality. What decisions? You'll find out. She stared at me. Are you breaking up with me? I don't know yet. Her eyes filled with tears. How can you not know? Because I'm trying to figure out if there's a version of this relationship where I'm not constantly competing with your past. You're not competing with anyone. Then why does it feel like I am? She didn't have an answer for that. She got out of the car, slammed the door. I watched her run into the house. Then I drove home. When I got back to the apartment, I opened the cancellation form again. This time I hit submit. Confirmation email came through 3 minutes later. Full refund processing within 5 to 7 business days. I forwarded the confirmation to Nicole with no message. Then I opened my email to my boss and sent a follow-up. I'm officially accepting the Seattle position. Please proceed with paperwork. His response came within an hour. Excellent. Welcome to the team. HR will be in touch Monday morning. I closed my laptop and sat in the quiet apartment. My phone started buzzing. Nicole calling. I didn't answer. She called 4 more times. Then the text started. You canceled Vermont? Without even talking to me? This is insane. Call me right now? I can't believe you're being this petty. Fine. Don't call. But we're talking about this. I turned my phone on silent and went to bed. The weekend was a blur. I didn't respond to any of Nicole's messages. Saturday afternoon, her dad called. I answered. Son, Nicole's very upset. What's going on? I canceled our couple's retreat. She mentioned that. Why? Because I'm not interested in working on a relationship where I'm not a priority. He sighed. That's a pretty drastic step. So is planning your wedding around your ex-boyfriend's preferences. He was quiet for a moment. Fair point. Are you two breaking up? I haven't decided yet. What would it take for you to want to stay? For Nicole to understand why her behavior is hurtful and to actually change it. Not just apologize and keep doing the same things. Have you told her that? Multiple times. She calls me insecure and dismisses my concerns. That sounds like Nicole. Another sigh. I love my daughter, but she can be stubborn. And sometimes she doesn't see how her actions affect people until there are real consequences. Then I guess we'll see if this is consequence enough. For what it's worth, I think you're being reasonable. A man shouldn't have to compete with his fiance's ex-boyfriend. Thank you. Good luck, son. Sunday evening, Nicole showed up at the apartment. I heard her key in the lock. She came in and found me in the living room. We need to talk. Okay. She sat down across from me. Her eyes were red. I talked to Trevor. Congratulations. I told him we needed to take a break from talking. That you were right about boundaries. I waited. And I'm telling you this so you know that I heard you. I'm making changes. You told him to take a break. For how long? I don't know. Until things settle down between us. And after that, I don't know. We'll see. I leaned back. So temporary appeasement until I calmed down, then back to normal. That's not what I said. It's what you implied. What do you want from me? You want me to never speak to him again? Fine. I won't. I don't believe you. Her face crumpled. Why not? Because you've already shown me that when it comes down to it, you'll choose your relationship with him over your relationship with me. That's not true. You refused his offer to step back on Friday. Now, after I canceled our trip and stopped responding to you, suddenly you're willing to set boundaries. That's not change, Nicole. That's damage control. She was crying now. I love you. I want to marry you. I don't know what else to say. I know you love me. I've never doubted that. But love isn't enough if you're not willing to prioritize our relationship. I am willing. I just told you I'm cutting contact with Trevor. For now, until I stop being upset. Until things go back to normal. And then what? He texts you in 6 months and you respond because it's just one text. He asks how you're doing and you tell him because we're still friends. He gives you advice and you take it because he knows me so well. And we end up right back here. She wiped her eyes. You don't trust me. No, I don't. Because you've given me every reason not to. We sat in silence. Finally, she said, what do you want to do? I accepted a job in Seattle. Her head snapped up. What? I'm moving to Seattle. End of next month. You what? The promotion I turned down 4 months ago. I reached out and asked if it was still available. It was. I accepted. She stood up. You accepted a job in Seattle without talking to me? I made a decision that affects my career without consulting my partner. Sound familiar? That's completely different. Is it? Yes. A wedding venue is not the same as moving across the country. You're right. It's not. But the principle is the same. You made a unilateral decision about our future. So did I. This is insane. What about our wedding? What about it? It's in 4 months. Then I guess we need to decide if it's still happening. She sank back onto the couch. You're really doing this. I am. Because of Trevor. Because of you, Nicole. Because you showed me that I'm not your priority. Because you've made it clear that you're not ready to put our relationship first. I am ready. Prove it. How? I don't know. That's not my job to figure out. But temporary distance from Trevor isn't going to cut it. She buried her face in her hands. We sat like that for a long time. Eventually, she looked up. If you take this job, we're over. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know what happens next, Nicole. I just know I can't keep doing this. I can't keep feeling like a backup option. I can't keep wondering if you're going to run back to Trevor the second things get hard between us. I can't build a life with someone who doesn't respect me enough to consider my feelings. I do respect you. Then show me. Not with words. With actions. Real, consistent, long-term actions. She stood up. I need to think. Take your time. She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Paused with her hand on the knob. Do you still love me? Yes. Then how can you leave? Because loving someone doesn't mean accepting whatever they give you. It means knowing your worth and walking away when they can't meet it. She left without another word. The next few weeks were strange. We barely spoke. Nicole stayed at her parents' house. I packed up the apartment. Told our landlord I wouldn't be renewing the lease. Started looking for places in Seattle. Our families were confused. Her mother called me twice. Both times to ask if there was any way to fix things. I told her that was up to Nicole. My mom asked if I was sure about this. I wasn't, but I was doing it anyway. 3 weeks before my move date, Nicole asked to meet. We went to a coffee shop. She looked tired. I broke up with Trevor, she said. I blinked. What? Not broke up. We were never dating. But I told him we couldn't be friends anymore. That he needed to be completely out of my life. When? 2 days ago. Why? She looked down at her coffee. Because my mom asked me something. She asked if I was holding on to Trevor because I was scared of being wrong about choosing you. And I realized that's exactly what I was doing. I kept him around as a safety net. If things didn't work out with you, I could always go back to something familiar. It wasn't fair to you. It wasn't fair to him. It wasn't fair to me. I didn't know what to say. I know it's probably too late, she continued. I know you're leaving. I know I screwed this up. But I wanted you to know that I finally get it. I finally understand what you were trying to tell me. What was I trying to tell you? That I can't build a future while I'm still holding on to the past. That you deserve someone who's all in, not someone who's hedging her bets. I looked at her across the table. Really looked at her. She meant it. I could see it in her eyes. Thank you for telling me, I said. Does it change anything? I don't know. Are you still moving to Seattle? Yes. She nodded slowly. Can I ask you something? Sure. If I had done this a month ago, would we still be together? I thought about it. Probably. That's what I thought. She stood up. I'm sorry. For all of it. You deserved better. You deserve better too. Someone who doesn't have to compete for your attention. She gave me a sad smile. I thought that's what you were. Turns out I was the one making you compete. She left. I sat there for another hour. Thinking. The day before my move, I got a text from her brother. Nicole asked me to give you this. There was a photo attached. A wedding venue cancellation confirmation. She'd canceled the deposit. Lost all the money. No message. Just the confirmation. I stared at it for a long time. Then I called her. She answered on the first ring. Hey. You canceled the venue. Yeah. That's a lot of money to lose. It's fine. It was never the right venue anyway. Because of Trevor? Because I chose it for the wrong reasons. If I ever get married, I want it to be somewhere that's actually ours. Not recycled from a past relationship. I sat down on a moving box. Nicole. Yeah. I'm still moving to Seattle. I know. But maybe once I'm settled, we could talk. Really talk. See if there's a way forward. She was quiet. Then, I'd like that. No promises. No promises, she agreed. You'd have to be okay with long distance. And with me taking time to trust you again. I know. And Trevor stays gone. Permanently. No matter what happens with us. He's already gone. Okay. 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 We'll talk once I'm settled. I could hear her crying on the other end. Thank you. For giving me a chance to prove I can do better. Don't thank me yet. I might get to Seattle and realize this is over. I know. But at least there's a possibility now. We hung up. I looked around the empty apartment. All our shared things packed into boxes. 3 years of a relationship reduced to cardboard and tape. Tomorrow I drive to Seattle. Start a new job. A new life. And maybe, eventually, we'd figure out if Nicole and I had a future. Or maybe we wouldn't. Either way, I'd walked away when I needed to. Set boundaries when they were crossed. Chosen my self-respect over a relationship that wasn't working. That was enough. 2 months in Seattle changed everything. The job was demanding but good. I found an apartment downtown. Made new friends. Joined a running club. Started therapy to work through the relationship stuff. Nicole and I texted occasionally. Nothing heavy. Just checking in. She'd tell me about work. I'd tell her about Seattle. We didn't talk about us. Not yet. Then one Friday evening, she called. Hey, are you busy? Just got back from a run. What's up? I'm in Seattle. I froze. You're what? I'm at a conference for work. Downtown. I know you probably don't want to see me, but I thought I'd at least let you know I'm here. Where are you staying? She named a hotel 3 blocks from my apartment. When's your conference done? Tomorrow at 5. Want to get dinner tomorrow night? Really? Really? I'd love that. We met at a small Italian place near the waterfront. She looked different. Lighter somehow. You look good, I said. So do you. Seattle's treating you well. It is. We ordered wine. Made small talk. Avoided the big topics until dessert came. Then she said, I've been in therapy. Yeah. Since you left. Working through why I hold on to people. Why I'm afraid to fully commit. A lot of it goes back to my parents' divorce when I was 12. I watched my mom completely fall apart when my dad left. I think I've spent my whole adult life making sure I never need anyone that much. That makes sense. My therapist says I was using Trevor as an emotional hedge fund. Keep everyone at arm's length so no one can hurt me the way my dad hurt my mom. Are you still in contact with him? Trevor? No. Haven't spoken to him since I told him we couldn't be friends. He tried to reach out a few times. I blocked his number. How do you feel about that? Sad sometimes. But mostly relieved. Like I finally let go of something I was supposed to let go of years ago. I reached across the table. Took her hand. I'm proud of you. She squeezed my fingers. I miss you. Every day. I miss you too. Is there any chance? I mean, do you think we could try again? I was quiet for a moment. I don't know if we should. Her face fell. Oh, not because I don't love you. I do. But because I don't know if we can recover from what happened. I understand. That said, she looked up. I'm willing to try. Slowly. No jumping back into engagement. No rushing. Just dating. Seeing if we can rebuild trust. Her eyes filled with tears. I can do slow. And I need you to understand something. If we do this, we do it my way for a while. You fly up here when you can. I'm not coming back there yet. My life is here now. If this works out long term, we'll figure out logistics. But for now, I need my own space. That's fair. And full transparency. About everything. If an ex reaches out, you tell me. If you're feeling uncertain, you tell me. No more secrets. No more secrets, she agreed. Okay then. She smiled through tears. Okay. That was 4 months ago. She flies up every 3 weeks. I visited her once, stayed with a friend to keep boundaries clear. We're taking it slow. Really slow. But it's different now. She checks in before making decisions. Asks my opinion. Considers my feelings. Shows up. Last week, she got a job offer in Portland. 2 hours from Seattle. She called me before accepting. What do you think? She asked. What do I think? Or what do you think? Both. I think you should do what's right for your career. If that's the Portland job, take it. If not, don't. But don't make this decision based on our relationship. We're not there yet. What if I want to be there? Then keep doing what you're doing. Show me every day that I matter. That we matter. And maybe we'll get there. And if I take the job, would you? Would you be open to seeing me more often? Yes. But I still need my space. I still need to know that you're doing this for you. Not just to prove something to me. She took the job. Starts next month. I don't know what happens next. Maybe we'll work out. Maybe we won't. But I learned something important through all of this. Love without respect is just words. And boundaries aren't ultimatums. They're standards. I walked away when I needed to, stood firm when I wanted to cave, chose myself when it would have been easier to just accept things as they were. And because of that, if Nicole and I do make it, it'll be real, built on actual partnership, not just convenience or history or fear of being alone. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. Let someone figure out who they are without you. And then, if they come back different, if they've done the work, if they show you through actions that they understand what went wrong, maybe then you try again. But this time, with your eyes wide open and your boundaries firmly in place.